There is a single angel feared by both Michael and Lucifer. He did not engage in battles or deliver messages. Instead, he concluded stories quietly and without any prior notice. His arrival signified one certainty: your time had ended. Known as Azrael, the angel of death, some believed he could extract the soul with just a whisper. Others claimed that upon his appearance, the soul immediately sensed it was time. When he arrived, even the mightiest angels withdrew. Today we recount the tale of the most terrifying angel to ever exist. Welcome. If you perceive Azrael as a powerful and mysterious angel, please drop a comment number 1 to tell us what you think. If you feel he is more of a fearful and enigmatic figure, leave a comment number 2 below. In ancient times, before the measurement of time and before humans existed on earth, death did not exist. The world was incomplete, life had not yet started, and thus the concept of life's end was absent from creation. However, everything changed due to one crucial decision. At the start, the first human Adam was formed and placed in an immaculate garden called Eden, which was serene and free from suffering. It was a divine gift. But when Adam and Eve defied God by eating from the forbidden tree, they introduced sin into the world. With sin came a consequence never known before: death. From that instant onward, death became a truth for all humanity. Humans would no longer live eternally but would be born, age, and eventually pass away. Since death had entered the world, someone needed to oversee this new phase of human existence. Not just any angel could be entrusted with this responsibility. Among the countless angels in heaven were warriors such as Michael, messengers like Gabriel, and others with unique duties. Each had a specific purpose. However, the role of bringing death, ending life, and guiding souls to the afterlife was distinct. It demanded bravery, obedience, and a rare kind of strength, the willingness to do what no one else dared. Therefore, God issued a command. He instructed his angels to gather the dust from which Adam would be made. This dust was intended to form the first human body, a vessel for a soul. Archangels were dispatched one by one to fulfill this mission. Some accounts say Michael attempted, but the earth protested, pleading for its soil to remain. Others claim Gabriel approached, but moved by compassion left the soil untouched. Each angel returned to God without the dust, either unable or unwilling to take it. Finally, God sent Azrael. At that point, Azrael had not yet become the angel of death. He was just another angel, faithful, obedient, and quiet. But when sent, Azrael traveled to earth and accomplished what no other angel would. He collected the dust, despite the earth's tears and pleas to be spared. Some tales say Azrael spoke to the earth, promising the dust would be returned eventually. Others say he remained silent. What mattered was that he fulfilled the task and returned the dust to God. That act changed everything. Azrael demonstrated what others had not: the ability to complete the hardest task promptly, without complaint, and without emotion interfering. For this, God assigned him a unique role. Azrael would be charged with both the beginning and the end, guiding souls from their creation to their final earthly moment and then beyond. What's your take on Azrael being the only angel willing to take on the task of gathering the first human dust? If you admire his bravery, comment number 1. If you believe this duty was simply too challenging for others and shows the heavy responsibility Azrael bore, comment number 2. From then on, Azrael was more than just an angel. He was Malak al-Maut, the angel of death. His success in gathering the earth's dust marked him as the only one capable of carrying the burden of death. It wasn't due to weakness in others, but because the responsibility was too great. The name Azrael, meaning help of God in Hebrew, became associated with this duty, assisting the soul's transition from life to whatever follows. Thus, while Azrael is recognized in both Islamic and Jewish traditions as the angel of death, his role extends beyond merely ending life. His primary task is to separate the soul from the body at the destined moment of death. However, extracting a soul is only a portion of Azrael's duty. Religious scriptures and oral stories depict Azrael as a psychopomp, a figure responsible for leading souls from the physical realm to the afterlife. He does more than sever the bond between body and soul. He assists in transporting the soul beyond this life to what lies ahead. This path might culminate in peace, reward, or judgment, but Azrael's role is to ensure the journey commences. He is the one who opens that gateway. Various traditions describe Azrael as carrying a divine scroll or ledger, sometimes called a book containing the names of every human being. At birth, a person's name is inscribed. At death, it is erased. This scroll symbolizes Azrael's constant knowledge of all living souls. He acts not from emotion or personal choice, but waits until the scroll signals the appointed time. This illustrates that Azrael's role is intimately tied to fate. He neither appears arbitrarily nor decides who dies when. He only moves when commanded by God. This obedience is a key aspect of Azrael's nature. Unlike Lucifer, the rebellious angel, or Michael the warrior who leads divine battles, Azrael is entirely submissive. He never acts independently but fulfills a designated role that only activates upon divine command. Despite this lack of autonomy, Azrael's influence surpasses that of any other angel. While other angels might protect, convey messages, or fight in specific locations, and times Azrael's duty concerns every living being on earth. Regardless of location, language, or faith, all souls ultimately come under Azrael's care. From the earliest times until now, from the highest peaks to the deepest urban centers, Azrael's duty is unending. This alone distinguishes him from other angels. Another intriguing aspect of his role is that he does not always manifest personally. Many traditions hold that he frequently dispatches subordinate angels to perform his tasks. These helpers, sometimes known as the angels of death, act under his command and are involved in gathering souls of the deceased. Depending on a person's life and destined fate, these angels may appear either gentle or fearsome. This arrangement reveals a crucial truth. Azrael is more than a servant, he is a leader. He oversees a whole network of spiritual beings whose purpose is to help him sustain balance throughout the world. In some interpretations, these subordinate angels assume greater responsibility during wars, catastrophes, or mass deaths when Azrael's influence must quickly cover many lives. At other times, Azrael may appear personally, particularly to saints, prophets, or individuals of special significance. While many fear him, others recognize him as an essential aspect of existence. Without Azrael, there would be no conclusion. Without an end, no new beginning could occur. His role exists solely to guarantee that the grand cycle proceeds as intended. Azrael was entrusted with one of creation's most significant duties, guiding every soul from life to death. To fulfill this role, mere obedience was insufficient. He required a level of power unmatched by any other angel. Ancient texts support this notion. Accounts of Azrael's true form exceed all typical angelic portrayals. Islamic traditions describe him as so immense and awe-inspiring that his form defies human comparison. He is said to possess 4 faces, each oriented toward a different cardinal point, north, southeast, and west, signifying his constant vigilance and awareness of all happenings worldwide. Yet these faces are only the beginning. Azrael is further described as having 4,000 wings, not the delicate feathered wings typically depicted in art showing angels as radiant human figures. Instead, his wings span across different realms. Some wings symbolize grace, linked with peace, mercy, and guiding virtuous souls. Others represent punishment, terrifying both in appearance and purpose. These punitive wings are described as composed of iron rods, sharp hooks, and heavy scissors designed to cut and tear. These belong to souls marked by sin and represent a harsher aspect of death, one that inspires fear rather than comfort. Regarding his size, certain Islamic scholars like Ibn Jafar al-Wajj and other classical commentators describe Azrael as possessing 70,000 feet or limbs. Each limb serves a specific function tied to his capability to engage with innumerable souls at once. These figures illustrate how a single entity can fulfill his role across all nations, peoples, and individuals. His form transcends human imagination, and rightly so, given the global scope of his task. Perhaps the most astonishing and eerie detail is that Azrael's body is said to be completely covered with eyes and tongues. Each eye and tongue corresponds to a living soul on earth. This means Azrael's very form mirrors the world's current population at any moment. His eyes observe every individual, and his tongues embody the voice or presence of each life. The unsettling part is that when someone dies, one of these eyes or tongues disappears from his body, signaling the end of that life. In many traditions, Azrael's form is not static. It continuously shifts according to the number of living beings. His body is synchronized with human existence itself. Thus, does the image of Azrael's thousands of eyes and tongues leave you with a mixture of awe and unease? If so, share your thoughts with comment number 1. Or do you see this as a symbol of his immense power and unfathomable nature? Then comment number 2. In some accounts, Azrael wields a flaming whip, a symbol of divine power and authority, used to command other spiritual entities and enforce God's will. Another striking image describes the entire earth as appearing to Azrael as small as a bowl held in his hand, or no bigger than a dish or tiny vessel, according to some scholars. This signifies his ability to reach any place instantly. For him, distance, borders, and time hold no meaning. The implication is clear. Azrael does not need to travel or search. He already knows the location of every person and can access them effortlessly. To further emphasize the magnitude of his power, some traditions compare Azrael to the bearers of the throne. In Islamic theology, a group of the largest and most powerful angels, whose sole duty is to uphold God's throne, often described in cosmic proportions. Yet some scholars argue that even these immense beings are smaller than Azrael. This detail offers an important insight. Azrael's terror does not stem from cruelty, but from his very nature. This is where we start to grasp why even powerful beings like Michael and Lucifer feared Azrael, not because he opposed them, but because he was beyond them. Unlike other angels, Azrael's appearance varies depending on the person's life and the soul's condition in its final moments. This distinction sets him apart from angels who perform predetermined tasks in set manners. Azrael's role is intimately tied to the soul, its purity, regrets, and readiness. His form is shaped by the observer's perspective. Individuals who have led righteous lives, saints, prophets, and devout believers, perceive Azrael as a peaceful figure. To them, he is neither dark nor frightening, but appears gentle, often described as beautiful, serene, or glowing with light. In such moments, Azrael's presence is comforting. He grants the soul time to comprehend its situation and guides it tenderly. Some traditions portray this meeting as radiant and warm, akin to being welcomed by a familiar and trusted protector. Legends passed through generations recount that the prophet Muhammad and Moses were personally visited by Azrael, not by one of his subordinate angels. In both instances, he respectfully invited them to depart from the world. However, not all souls receive such gentle encounters. For those who harbored cruelty, deceit, or rebellion, Azrael manifests differently. In these cases, he does not bring peace, but arrives with overwhelming force. His form mirrors the soul's deepest fears, described as heavy, cold, and terrifying. Some traditions hold that sinners experience their souls being violently torn away rather than gently lifted. These final moments offer no solace, only fear, remorse, and suffering. Azrael's dual nature is intentional in his design. He mirrors the reality of a person's life back to them. Essentially, the soul receives in return exactly what it contributed to the world. This concept is most evident in Sufi teachings, a branch of Islamic philosophy that centers on the spiritual path of the individual soul. According to Sufi teachers, Azrael reveals himself in a form that corresponds to the soul's deepest condition at the time of death. When the soul is tranquil, Azrael manifests as peace. If the soul is overwhelmed by fear or resistance, he appears reflecting that turmoil. However, Azrael's appearances are not limited to death moments alone. There are accounts of him appearing in dreams or visions, particularly as one's time approaches. Such dreams frequently contain warnings, reminders, or guidance to ready the soul. Sometimes these visions are calm and reassuring. At other times, they serve as urgent alerts. A famous instance is that of Rumi, the renowned Sufi poet and spiritual guide. Tradition holds that as Rumi approached death, he encountered Azrael appearing in human form. The encounter was not frightening but peaceful. Rumi met it with calm acceptance, fully aware that his moment had arrived. Another case is recorded in the works of Nasir Khusraw, a Persian poet and thinker, who described a dream where Azrael informed him that his time was close. This dream allowed him the opportunity to contemplate, pray, and ready himself. In such narratives, Azrael serves as a herald of transition, a guide assisting the soul in moving to its next phase. If it remains unclear why Azrael evoked fear, even among the highest angels, the reason becomes evident once his true role is understood. His presence signaled an ending every time. This effect extended beyond humans to angels as well. Ancient myths tell of a profound instinctual silence that spread across the heavens whenever Azrael approached. Angels who sang, fought, or served in unison would pause upon his arrival. Gabriel delivered messages, Michael led battles, and Israfil prepared to blow the final trumpet. Azrael's purpose, however, was unique. He came not with warnings, but with absolute certainty. Even the mightiest beings yielded before him. Certain traditions hold that Azrael, under God's command, could claim the soul of any creature, including angels. Thus, he transcended the limits of time, conflict, and revelation. Azrael was not part of tales of war or prophecy. He was associated with the final act. One story tells that the bearers of God's throne, immense authoritative angels, lowered their eyes when Azrael appeared in the divine realm. His power stemmed not from rank, but from his role. He embodied the conclusion of every command, mission, and life. Azrael operated solo. His path never crossed with warriors or messengers. He was the ultimate destination on the divine journey. Once he arrived, no sound, strength, or plea could alter what followed. This is why even the archangels, powerful, luminous, and chosen, honored his silence. His silence signified that the story had ended. But is Azrael the same as death, or are they separate? In many traditions, death is more than an event. It is a being created by God, much like the angels. Some ancient Islamic accounts describe death as a distinct creation, separate from Azrael. Death was not merely a process, but had its own form, substance, and presence. When God brought forth death, he showed it to the angels. Yet its sight overwhelmed them. Each angel who beheld death fainted for 1,000 years. This ordeal was unbearable even for the mightiest heavenly beings. This fact alone hints at the immense nature of death. If even angels were undone by it, what being could possibly govern it? The pivotal moment came when God entrusted Azrael with authority over death itself. This demonstrates that Azrael was not born from death, but elevated above it. While other angels manage elements like light, sound, and fire, Azrael bore something far more absolute, the boundary separating life from what follows. Some traditions, as interpreted by scholars and mystics, claim that Azrael did not merely bring death, he embodied its essence. He did not come after death, instead death followed him. This concept gains even greater significance in end-of-time narratives. After Judgment Day, when every soul is judged and heaven and hell are fully separated, one final act remains. Hadith traditions say God will take death now, transformed into a ram, and position it between heaven and hell. Then in front of all creation, God will slay this ram. At that moment, death itself will cease. With death's end, Azrael's mission will also conclude. This event symbolizes the ultimate transformation. Azrael, who stood at the threshold of every life, will have fulfilled his complete cycle. His duty will be done, and eternity will commence. Thus, perhaps Azrael was more than just a servant of death. He might have been death itself, molded by divine decree. Given all this, it is unsurprising that many now link Azrael with the Grim Reaper. Yet, unlike the Grim Reaper, often depicted as cold or terrifying, Azrael's origins reveal him as both respected and feared. He enacts God's will, not his own judgment. Azrael's name features in poetry, literature, and popular culture. Over the years, his identity as the angel of death has inspired authors, thinkers, and artists globally, particularly in the West. In the 19th century, American poet Henry Wadsworth Longfellow described Azrael as an angel who gently gathers souls, imbuing his presence with a solemn yet peaceful quality. Around the same era, Leigh Hunt wrote The Reaper and the Flowers, depicting Azrael as a calm figure clad in black, coming not to harm, but to guide. British writer G.K. Chesterton also mentioned Azrael in his poetry, portraying him as a potent force summoned during profound spiritual conflicts, underscoring the angel's enduring significance beyond his original religious context. Over time, the name Azrael gained recognition among the general public. In the 1980s cartoon The Smurfs, the antagonist Gargamel named his cat Azrael, a subtle nod to the angel's deeper cultural significance. Even in this playful context, the name retained associations with mystery, darkness, and inevitability. This elevates Azrael beyond a mere symbol. He is not simply a shadow or legend, but a figure that bridges the realms of life and death, religion, and folklore, fear, and reassurance. Now that you've heard Azrael's story, how do you perceive him, as a fearful, dark entity, or as a protector guiding life's final transition? Share your thoughts in the comments below. After exploring Azrael's story, do you view him as a gentle guide for souls? Comment number 1 to tell us. Or do you think of him as a daunting figure embodying finality? Drop a comment number 2 to share your perspective. If you like this story, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Next, check out our video about Lucifer, the angel who became the devil. Stay open-minded, and until next time.